Hi, I'm Kevin Fallon, and welcome to the Falling Up Podcast, where we have conversations about turning obstacles into opportunities. And on today's show, we have the pleasure of being joined by Miss Loren Jefferson, aka DJ Too Much. So, DJ Too Much has over 15 years of lighting up the music scene, both nationally and internationally. She is a force to be reckoned with, a trailblazer and a visionary. DJ Too Much holds multiple hats. She's not only a magnetic DJ who can start up any party and get it jumping, she's also the CEO of Disruptive Marketing and one of the creative forces behind the popular Wind Down CT. She shared the stage with giants, recently DJing for Pharrell and his initiative Black Ambition, and has turned every obstacle into opportunities. So today we're going to talk with DJ Too Much, and she's going to share a story with us. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely. It's a pleasure. I'm glad we are here, and it's divine timing. So just jumping straight into it, can you let everyone know, what's your hometown and what you represent?
I'm from New Haven, Connecticut, representing New Haven. I've been in New Haven for over 15 years, and yeah, I love it here.
Me too. I love New Haven. Yeah. All right, cool. So, as a DJ, I want to just take a step back into like the whole your DJ career, because you're a heavy hitter. You know what I mean? I don't know no one that doesn't know who you are or doesn't know what Wind Down is. It's a movement, and it's a beautiful, beautiful situation. I had the pleasure of being there over the summer over at Bears, and it was one of the funnest nights I had at CT in general in a long time. So I want to take a step back and talk about, the your early days of DJing. Like, what motivated you to get into DJing?
For me, it was always just like a love of music. Like, music was something that I just remember like bringing my family together. Like I could think of like being back when I was like 10, 11, 12 years old and being at like my uncle's house. And I remember when DJ Cool dropped Let Me Clear My Throat. And I remember my uncle like, yo, this new jam just came out. And he's playing the song, and like my whole family is just like dancing, like doing the Soul Train line, and everybody's going down the Soul Train line and dancing and having a good time. And my uncle just like running the record back over and over again for like the entire night. And like there's memories like that really just created just like this bond with music for me. And I remember even like my aunt Joyce and my aunt Linda and my aunt Robin. Like when it came to music, I'd be in the car and like my aunt Joyce would always be singing Stevie Wonder. I was like 5 years old and she's singing I Just Called to Say I Love You, and teaching me all the lyrics to Stevie Wonder, or my aunt Robin singing In Vogue, Hold On to Your Love, Hold On to Your Love. Like, and all these memories were just like how I grew up as a kid, just like loving music. My family loved music and really like put that in me to love music as well. And I recognize like these moments that I remember as a child, all of them really connect to music. So I think when I was 17, 18 years old, I thought of the idea like, wow, music makes a moment. Like music is what connects me and my past to moments. And being able to bring people together through music and making memories and moments with people has always just been like a passion that I've had, from hosting events, DJing events, and going from making mixtapes in high school. And that was kind of how I started DJing, like really just making mixtapes, and that led to someone asking me to DJ a party for them. And I was like, wow, like somebody thinks I have the capabilities to be a DJ. Maybe I can, and once that idea was in my head, like there was no stopping me. I was like, all right, well now I got to figure it out. Now I got to figure out, where do I get speakers? How do I play music? All these things. And then I would listen to DJs on the radio like at the time, Angie Martinez was really like the only female DJ that I heard on the radio, and I knew like Spinderella from Salt and Pepper, but like I never really saw a lot of female DJs. And you know, like I was talking about earlier, how growing up, I went to Amity, which is outside of New Haven, and I grew up in like an all-white school. In kindergarten to fourth grade, I was the only Black kid in my school, so I was already like very aware of who I was at a young age, and I wasn't scared to be different. So even though like I hadn't seen a lot of females in the DJ industry, it didn't bother me to like think of me being in a male-dominated industry, because I was like, well, I can do it. Why not? You know. But when I first started, there weren't a lot of females DJing. There weren't a lot of women that were in the DJ industry. But now I love seeing like so many women DJing, and like seeing a lot of these female DJs being recognized and coming up, and like their skills are crazy. Like, and yeah, but like when I started, it was really just a passion for music that connected me from my childhood, and has kind of grown with me. That passion has continued.
Yeah, that's awesome. Like music, the memories of family, like bringing the family together and everyone happy and joyous and dancing and singing. That's especially for a child. That's foundational. You know what I mean? And clearly, those experiences have continued on in your life, and you've been able to grow it bigger, right? And make impact across not just the family, but across the nation or internationally, really, right? And that's kudos to you. That's huge.
Thank
You know, you mentioned being one of the or being in a male dominated industry, right? And you not seeing many female DJs early on. What were some challenges that you faced as a female DJ, and how did you maintain your passion to drive through and push through during those tough times?
Oh man, can I? You know, I honestly, I'm probably speaking for a lot of female DJs, because when I've talked to other female DJs, I've recognized that I'm not the only one who's experienced some of the things I've experienced in the DJ industry. But because it is a male-dominated industry, a lot of men, unfortunately, can become very intimidated when they see a woman DJ come in, and like right away they're looking like, well, do you know how to play Pharrell? You know, like, let me see what you got, you know, kind of thing, and like really questioning like your talent or your skills. And honestly, sometimes experiencing hate, you know, from male DJs, and hearing things like, oh, you know, they only picking girl DJs because they're pretty, or, you know, because they can come to an event and they got their titties out, or like whatever. Like it's not really about our talent. Sometimes when we're women DJs, sometimes, you know, there is misogyny, there is like hate, there is doubt in our skills, or in the fact that whether or not we're really good. Like, are you really good? Whereas like sometimes men DJs can suck, and like just because they're a guy, they're like, it's okay for them to suck. Whereas like women, I recognized early on that if I was going to be in this industry, I had to be better. I had to be able to do it, so that I had to be good enough so that if somebody was not looking up at the DJ booth, they couldn't tell whether it was a guy or a girl. Like they would automatically assume it was a guy. Like, so I really learned that my technique, my blending, my mixing, scratching, whatever I was gonna do, if I'm gonna cut in, it has to be dope. It can't just be some mediocre stuff, because as a woman in a male-dominated industry, you got to be better in order for them to respect you as an equal. And I think it kind of similar with like hip hop, you know, in general. Like in hip hop, we didn't really see a lot of like female rappers that were like bonded together until now. Like 2024, we finally see like all these female rappers coming up and making their mark in the industry. But growing up in the era that I grew up in, it was like, there was Lil' Kim. Lil' Kim was the best until Nicki came. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like you could have the top 5 best female rappers in the 90s or even the early 2000s. And I think a lot of that, like the misogyny that we see in hip hop, it's similar to what we feel as women in the DJ industry. Like it's hard because a lot of times they want women to compete against each other instead of bonding together. And I do love that now, like women are bonding together a lot more. And I love seeing like even with Wind Down, we find it really important to make sure we have women DJs being a part of it. So it's equal. It's not, just like guy DJs. It's like we feel both femme and masc energy, and like everybody is able to come together. And the women DJs are, I'm not gonna say all of them are better, but like there's a lot of great women DJs, and like I think when I first started DJing in New York City, that was when I started to feel like the guys were like, oh, well, who's this girl? Who's this girl? Who she thinks she is, And I think dealing with like male DJs that were haters, it instilled a lot of confidence in me, like to be able to get booked, still, despite if somebody thinks, oh, well, I wouldn't book her. Like, well, that's okay. Somebody else is booking me. You know what I mean? And like to be able to grow my brand despite any hate that I felt, or experienced, to me, it just made me stronger. And I think I was fortunate to have a father in my life that instilled a lot of confidence in me. And as a woman, it could be hard to deal with like men telling us anything negative, about our skills, about anything about us. But like having like really, really strong male figures in my life, like my father, my uncle, my brother, my cousins, like they really instilled in me like this confidence of knowing like I was just as good, if not better. I was worthy. Like if anyone said anything, it was because they were intimidated. It wasn't really because it really had nothing to do with me. It was just more or less like insecurity on their part and being fearful that a female DJ was going to come and take their place.
Nah, and you actually answered my next question, which was going to be how did those moments shape your path into being the great DJ that you are today? And from what I'm hearing is you were able to take those insecurities, that negative energy, those obstacles, and turn it into an opportunity where now you're a big DJ, right? And that's one of the things with Falling Up. And I'm like we probably could end the podcast now because you already hit it on the head. Like just as in terms of having that opportunity to take those obstacles, to take those things that many people succumb to, and use that to motivate you and breed success is literally what Falling Up is about. I appreciate you sharing that. That's everything. That's everything. And I think, hopefully our listeners could take that today, early on into this podcast as one of those things that, don't succumb to it. Don't succumb to the hate, because the hate gonna come. You know what I mean? It's a matter of using that hate to motivate you and get you going and elevate you and level up. So that's super dope.
I realize at this point in my career, when the hate comes, that's when you've made it. Like, like they have this song, if you ain't got no haters, you ain't popping. And that is the fullest truth. Like, ain't nobody, you know how many people talk crap about Beyonce? Like it's because it's Beyonce and they know who she is. Like the fact that people are hating on you is because they know who you are. Whereas before they were hating, they didn't even see you. Like you didn't exist. But like once you're on their radar, it's like either they're gonna love you or they're gonna hate you, And unfortunately, the more people know you, the more you're gonna have to deal with haters, the more you're gonna have to deal with people running their mouth about you, whether it's good or bad, And I think, yeah, you in order to be successful, you kind of have to get over it. you gotta be like, you know what? I cried for a day, and now it's time to move on and make some moves. And I think, like obviously I'm still a woman. I'm still, things hurt. Like it doesn't feel good for people to hate, but at the same time, like I can't let the haters stop me, because then that's when they win. So ultimately, if you're gonna be successful, you gotta get past the hate. You say, you know what? All right, you feel how you feel. They're hating. Okay, how can I be better? Like if there's any truth to what they're saying, how do I take that, negative energy and turn it into a positive? And also, is there even any truth to it? Maybe it is complete BS. Maybe it is really just jealousy, or maybe it is them just scared of you coming and taking their place, because sometimes that's the issue too. But regardless of what it is, you got to keep going. You have to, because if you don't keep going, then you let them win. So
100%, 1,000,000%. No, that's dope. That's dope. You can't let them win. You know, another thing with that, just to add on to your great point, is if you really like broke down the numbers, let's say we had 100 people, 90 of them love you. You feel what I'm saying? And then maybe 5 don't even are neutral, and the other 5 are hating. Like the hate don't be the majority, but
right.
but is how our perception is, right? Like we'll a lot of times we we all love recognition, and we all love to be receive accolades. But like you said, I think you made a great point. When the pain is pain, you know what I'm saying? It hurtful things and words and energy like that does hurt. You know what I mean? And it's not to act like it didn't happen, but to live in it and stay in it, especially when it's 5% of the people out of when 90 other percent is loving on you. You just gotta really focus on that 90% and let the 5% stay in a misery. You know what I mean? So I've been a fan from afar. I got the pleasure of really getting to talk to you. Even so it was brief, we still got to talk at the Emerge event. Shout out to Emerge, those are my peoples.
Shout out to Travis. His video was so dope. I love that video. That's one of my best friends who did that video, Travis Carbonella.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Listen, but I mean that. Yeah, that's for a whole nother podcast, because that my God, that was man, it was amazing. He did a phenomenal job. It's like I know each one of those gentlemen. I know each one of them. Some I've actually worked with. Some I just know from my relationship doing work inside Emerge. But all of them, how they were portrayed in that documentary is who they are. There was no, you know what I mean? He portrayed them unfiltered. It was absolutely amazing. Shout outs to Travis. He's special. That was special. That was absolutely an amazing moment. I'm so glad I was able to be there. So shout outs to Travis. But I've been a fan from afar, and I knew about Wind Down, but just going, doing our due diligence, going through the questionnaire. You're the CEO of Disruptive Marketing. Can you tell us about these brands that you built from the ground up, and really, what were the strategies that you implemented for being the most effective in building and sustaining the multiple brands that you represent?
The strategy. I think when it comes down to it, I heard Lala Anthony say that she's like, when it comes down to it, she does many things, but like when it comes down to it, she just feels like she's the hardest worker, and willing to like work harder than anybody else. And I think strategy wise, I love marketing, but like also I'm somebody who I wake up at 5 a.m. every day, and I start working as soon as I open my eyes, and I work until I go to sleep pretty much. I think my strategies are just really just hard work, and really not being scared to think outside the box and do something different. I think strategy wise, it's really about finding what people need and what they want, and being able to build it. Knowing where the need is or the needs are, and saying, okay, how can I fulfill this, or how can I fill this need? And then like marketing wise, social media is really everything, and really creating content and creating content strategy is what I do for like myself, and also for my customers and clients as well. So yeah, like being able to build Wind Down, like that has been like a dream of mine, honestly. Like I always kind of thought of this idea of creating something in Connecticut that could be a space for Black and brown people to come together and to feel like they could be their freest, most authentic selves, and really like build community, here. I recognize, like, growing up in New Haven and in Connecticut, there weren't a lot of places for me to go where I could just like have a good time and meet people. I always felt like I needed to go to like New York or travel to like Houston or Miami. And then I started to meet people here, and I was like, whoa, there's like some really dope people here. How do we create something and bring all the dope people together? And being able to market Wine Down, honestly, Travis has been a big part of it, because he does a lot of our video content, and he knows how to tell stories and capture people so well, having a good time and really enjoying themselves. But honestly, I feel like between like just really working really hard and really having a vision and trying to execute it every day until it matches what I felt it could be, and also just being surrounded by amazing people that are genuinely good people. Like, I'm really blessed to have some really amazing heart-centered people in my life that like help push whatever visions and ideas that I have or that we could create as a team, to create these brands and to execute and to really bring our visions to life as a community. So as much as I can say I work really hard, I also have amazing people around me that help execute whatever visions that we're able to put together and create. So yeah, not just me, but my team.
No doubt, no doubt. Oh man, that's such a great answer. The for real, because hard work beats talent 10 out of 10 times.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And when you're chasing greatness, specifically in the entrepreneur space, the only way to win is to work hard. You're not going to, unless you have access to resources. You're born into to Princess Diane and the family of England. You know what I mean? You got to get it. You got to go get it. You know what I'm saying? And that work ethic, if you put the work in, or as they say, if you build it, it will come. If you put the work in, it's going to happen. It's guaranteed to happen. Just never give up. And you sparked something in my mind when you spoke about your team that I resonate with tremendously. I've been blessed to be a co-founder to a nonprofit that we started right in New Haven. And from the beginning, my two other co-founders, I always felt like these guys are super smart. These guys will put the work in, they're committed. And I always, in my phone, we have a group text that's 7-8 years old and it's labeled masterminds. Like I'm a huge fan of Think and Grow Rich, and written by Napoleon Hill. And in that book, he has a chapter speaking about your mastermind group. Surround yourself with people that will challenge you, that are experts in certain areas, that's just super smart, and putting yourself in a room or putting yourself in a space where people are smarter than you in certain areas, and you bring your expertise, they bring their expertise, and now you're coming together and building something great. And so when you got a good team, I mean, sky's the limit. And also law of attraction, right? When you work hard and you're doing something positive, and you're on a high vibration, that's what you're going to attract. You know what I mean? And clearly that's what you and your team has been able to do, is y'all all attracted to each other, and you know what I mean? Here y'all are. I remember reading your questionnaire, and I said, damn, because one of the things you mentioned with your obstacles, that you had some DJ equipment stolen at one time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't mean to bring up a bad moment. But I'm sure there's a rainbow at the end. You know what I'm saying? So, I think that's my question is, how did that obstacle empower you or push you forward that was able to contribute to the growth and success that you are experiencing now?
Wow. So it's crazy. I felt like at the time, a couple weeks before I had my DJ equipment stolen, I was like, I think I was about 23. I was still in college. I think I was like my senior year in college, and I was like, all right, I think I'm gonna give up on DJing, or like I'm not gonna continue to DJ. It's not that serious. Like I don't need to make this a full-time thing. And I was working for the city of New Haven. I just got like a full-time job, and I was like, okay, DJing doesn't really have to be something that I continue to do. And then, you know, I had a gig. I left my DJ equipment, some of it, most of it in the car the night after my gig. And I had a couple gigs that weekend, so I was tired. And that was why, like, I got home late and I was like, I'll just get it in the morning. Then I came down in the morning and my window was busted out and everything was gone. And I was like, what? Like, is this a joke? Like, you know, like it was just one of those moments where I was like, this can't be serious. Like, this can't be real. And I was just like, somebody had to see people like take equipment out of a car, you know, like someone had to see it. Cause I don't live in like a private neighborhood. I live, you know, in an area that has a good amount of foot traffic and things like that. So I'm like, someone had to see something, even if it was like 2 a.m, you know? But I couldn't get past that. So I was like, I'm going to call the news. I'm going to call the news and just see if they'll take this story. And to my surprise, News Channel 8 called me back the same day and came to my job and interviewed me. And they interviewed me and took, you know, recorded me and took footage of my car with the busted window, everything. So I was on like the 8 o'clock or 10 o'clock news. The next day, I have people calling me because they put my number on there and my email. People calling me, people sending me emails asking me if they could send me checks to help me get to buy new equipment. So I had the day my equipment was stolen was like 6 or 7 days before I had a major wedding. And I was like, I have a wedding next week. I don't know how I'm going to get equipment before this wedding, you know? And I'm like, young, I ain't have no money. I'm like, I don't got more than maybe $600-700, you know, like I don't have enough to like go buy $2,000-3,000 worth of equipment right away. But after I was on the news, my family and people that I didn't know started calling me and mailing me checks so that I could get new equipment. And that for me was like life-changing because I was like, oh snap, like these people really believe in me, you know, like these people believe in me enough to like mail me like $300-400 at a time in a check. And because of that, I was able to get brand new equipment that week and DJ a wedding that week. And like almost bringing me to tears right now just thinking about it. But like the fact that I was about to give up and then that experience happened, and then to see like people's belief in me and people like even my aunt like calling me and like, hey, I got money for you. Like, how much is a speaker? How much is an amp? What do you need? You know, I'll buy that for you. And like to know that at that age, you know, we don't really know what we're gonna do. Like a lot of times we're just like trying things just to see what fits and what doesn't. But like for me, that was the change. That was the moment where things changed for me, and I was like, oh snap! Like I'm a DJ for real. Like this is who I am. This is part of me at this point. And like to me, that was the solidifying moment for me that really gave me this like resilience to not give up and to keep going, because I realized like if I continue to go, people are gonna help me. And like I've experienced that my entire DJ career, like from my DJ equipment being stolen, from I tore my Achilles and couldn't walk for 6 months, and my family would like help me. Like I had a gig with Sinbad and my parents like drove me down in a wheelchair so I could DJ. Like all these things that I've continued to experience like hardships throughout my career, but like my family and friends have always, and people that didn't know me, you know, that people just knew me from like a news broadcast, like showed me that they believed in me enough to like send me checks. Like all those things really instilled in me like not just who I was, but reasons for me not to give up and reasons for me to continue. And I think about even like within the last 6 months I DJ'd, you know, you mentioned the Black Ambition with Pharrell, his Black Ambition Prize organization, and like being in those moments where I make it to like these big like wow, like how did I get here moments, like how am I in the same room with Pharrell, how is Cedric the Entertainer my MC for the night, you know, like being in those moments. And I'm like, if I had given up at 23, I would not be in this room today. Like thinking those moments and like realizing like I had to keep going in order to make it. And I know like there's so much more that's still to come. Like there's so many things that I know that I'm still capable of and that I still want to do. But being able to know like if I continue to go, there's always going to be people that are going to be in my life that help continue to see like my vision and support it, and to dream with me and to support my dreams. So like I think that my equipment getting stolen was really just a solidification of who I was going to be. That's what I feel.
Listen, you said you about to tear up. I'm over here about to tear up. Cause that like, man, what like the power of never giving up, and just the like this is your destiny, like this is your calling. You're in your purpose. For that to happen, that you just about to quit, and then they, wow, that's powerful, and to see where it went, and to think that all could have been missed, or that all could have been, given up on based off of negative energy, to overcome that, and then to catapult that's again obstacles into opportunities, like that's literally like, wow, that's powerful. Thank you for sharing that. That's everything right there. You mentioned work ethic, and I thought this was amazing that you mentioned taking 10,000 hours, or putting in 10,000 hours is what makes you a professional. And we talked about work ethic, but I wanted just to touch on it. How has that philosophy influence your work ethic and approach to DJing? But I think you mentioned that, like how instead of how it did it for you, what about your team work ethic? Because obviously the team is pushing forward, the team is doing amazing things collectively. How is that work ethic promoted? Like how do you create that environment where that work ethic continues to sustain at such a high level?
That's a tough question.
I try to bring it.
I think you can really only work as hard as like your leader, I'm sorry, I have like a bunch of motorcycles right by. It might be loud.
You're good.
Yeah, I think that I think when I've worked for other people, or when I've had leaders in front of me, I always respected the leaders that I knew worked really hard. Like if I saw like my boss or somebody that was leading me really work hard, like and honestly, even my father was really always a hard worker. He was like really someone who I always saw like going above and beyond to make sure things got done. I knew I could count on him. I knew that if he said he was going to do something, that he was going to do it. And I think that I've always respected people who I saw work hard, who had hard work ethic, and also had accountability. Like when it came down to it, if they said that they were going to do something, they would come through with their word. And that is really what I've admired. Whenever I've seen it, and that's who I try to be as well. And I think the other leaders on the team are similar in the sense of whatever it is that they say they're going to do, they're going to come through. And like because of that, we have trust in one another. And I think ultimately, because we have this like foundation of trust and knowing, all right, if we tell this person to lead in this way, we know that we can count on this person to bring it and to show up 150%. But I think the team is only going to be as good as the leaders, or work as hard as the leaders. And I think we have amazing leaders that work with us and that are on our team. And because of that, it makes everyone on the team want to show up 150%. And they know that if they show up that way, they're going to be appreciated for it, and like really just showing appreciation to the team. Like recently, we just did a wind down appreciation dinner on a rooftop, and Corbell was able to sponsor it. But we really want to make everyone on our team feel like they have a place and like feel special, you know. We've been doing like, especially with wind down, we've been doing wind down for a little over about 2.5 years now. And the people that started with us, many of them are the people that are still with us and have really helped us grow. And like, that's really important to us too. Like if you started with us, we want you to continue with us. Like that's for me, like loyalty is everything. So I try to be loyal to the people that are loyal to us. And because of that, I think we have this foundation that is kind of really like built in trust, loyalty, and love. Like at this point, we're like family. And I think when people come to like an event, they feel that. They feel like they're with their friends or family, even if they don't know the people that are partying with. It's like, it feels like a unit. And I think a lot of that has to do with the foundation. Like we really work hard as a team, to make sure like we can spread the love that we feel amongst each other to everybody else. And I think that's kind of what has carried Wind Down, you know, to be what it is. And I think in everything else that I do, whether it's DJing or my own like disruptive marketing business, or like my DJ courses, any of those things, I try to like bring in team members that have those similar qualities, and that we can build together in a similar way.
No, that's that lead by example. I agree with that as well. Like you know, you're only gonna, if you ain't going hard, why should I?
Right. Yeah. Why can you expect anyone to work harder than you if you're the leader? You know, I think I've worked in positions where like the boss doesn't do anything and everyone knows it, and like that's never a good position, you know, like or to be in. Like I don't want to work harder than the person whose dream this is. So I feel like if you're able, if it's your dream, you got to work harder than your entire team. You got to wake up every day and do it, and really be able to take the lead. And I know that there's a lot of things that I'm working on as a leader too, because I think leadership takes time to even develop into, like to be a good leader and be able to to tell people and designate assignments, and to be able to actually coordinate with others and like tell people, okay, this is what I need done. Like that's a hard thing, especially growing up when you're like used to doing everything, getting to the point where you're able to say, okay, I can't do everything anymore. You know, that's been one of the things that I've been really working on and trying to grow myself, like learning how to be a leader that can step away and say, okay, this is my role. I can kill this role. I can give this to someone else and they can kill that. And being able to trust people in those roles is really important too.
Listen. Oh man. The I'm laughing because we have a lot of synergy. And one of those lies with creating something, creating a movement, creating an organization, however you want to put it, and they giving your baby off to somebody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That is delegation.
Scary. It's scary because you're like, this is my baby. Like, how do I trust you with my child? You know, and how do I know you're gonna treat my child the way I would treat her or treat it? You know. But like being able to, once you feel like you can trust people and being able to see them shine in those roles, and like trusting them to take on the responsibility to kill it, like that's a proud thing too, you know. Like that becomes like something that I feel proud about when I'm able to say, okay, we need these things done, and then it's executed, and we're all able to share in that, in the moment of our success combined. In a lot of ways, I grew up playing sports. I feel like it's kind of like football. Like football is a team that is a sport where it's like really a team sport. Like you need everybody to play their role correctly in order to win. Like you can't play football and win alone. You can't just be like the running back and you're going to get touchdowns without having a good quarterback or people that are going to block you, So like really everybody has to play their position. And like when you have a good solid team and everyone knows their role, that's really the only way that you can win. And everyone just has to know how to play their role well, but you got to trust that like your line got you, you know what I mean? And like it takes time to get there, but like that's the stage that I'm in, where I'm really working through and like recognizing like every role is really important in order to win, hopefully, the Super Bowl. So
absolutely. The art of delegation is a tough art, but when you're taking something like Wind Down and creating this movement and all these moving parts, because when I went to the one at Bears, you walk in, you got vendors, you have a area to play games, an area to dance, an area to network, photographers. You have all these moving pieces, all moving at the same time, and I too throw events, so every vendor isn't. I don't want to offend nobody, but every vendor isn't worried about the overall goal of the event. They're only worried about themselves. So you got like all these different vendors and you're managing their personalities, then you're managing staff, then you're managing the venue, then you're managing the equipment, everything, like, right? So you got all these different things moving and you can't do it alone. And it's a scary feeling because tell me if you relate to this. Once you see something ain't going right, okay, I'll do it myself. Right. Mm-hmm. And that's just that. There's no sustaining that, especially when you're growing something as powerful and as Wind Down. It's just you can't get to where you're at now by doing it all by yourself. So I resonate with that. And a part of this interview that's just throughout this is music and using music as a way to build community. And that community is the community of the people that participate in Wind Down, and then the community within the organization of Wind Down, and then ultimately meshing it all together where everyone is being loved on and enjoying each other and coming to a situation where, let's be frank, especially in New Haven. I've been in New Haven for years, and a lot of times you have events and parties and liquor involved. You got people that don't like each other from different parts of the town, and then next thing you know, there's this animosity from across the room. You know how it gets in the club, and that's not Wind Down at all. Like that's literally the opposite of Wind Down in terms of the positive energy. Like you don't like everyone is smiling and laughing and talking and networking and meeting new people, and that comes from that. That comes from that community, right? That comes from that energy of togetherness, and it's super impressive and empowering and inspiring what y'all got going on and the things that y'all have created and the momentum of this and how it will continue to develop. I'm super excited about and definitely will continue to support everything y'all got going on.
Thank you.
No, absolutely. It's dope. So I want you, because again, you wear a lot of different hats. You got a lot of things going on. But can you talk about the 90-day DJ and what that is and what you're looking to do with that?
Yeah, so 90-day DJ really was a program that I created pre-COVID. I started putting together like a course for DJs, I recognized, like, as a DJ myself, growing my business was hard in a lot of ways, because like we were talking about, there was a lot of, like, the culture of DJing in general is very competitive. Nobody really wants to share like their tips of how they got to where they're at. And I recognized, like, as I started traveling, I started to learn more, because the DJs that I would meet, like, say I went to Houston or Miami or even Chicago, I would be in these other cities, and DJs would finally be able to, like, tell me, you know, their secrets, so to speak, or like give me tips and things like that, because they didn't feel threatened by me, because I wasn't from their city. But I recognized when I was close to home, the DJs at home, it's like, oh yeah, what's up, you know. But when it came down to it, nobody wants to help you get the gig that they feel that they're fighting for too, you know. But I felt like when I started to travel and really expand my network across the country or even globally, I really started to learn a lot of these tips and tricks from different DJs that helped me really solidify myself as a DJ and brand myself. And I recognized that there was a lot of DJs that were struggling, and I was like, wow, you know, I never really worked with a DJ agency or anything. I've always just marketed myself and really found ways to get exposure on my own, using social media, using running ads, and using marketing tactics really to get to where I'm at. So I put together 90-Day DJ, which is a full course that teaches DJs everything that they need to know, from what equipment to purchase when they're first starting, where to get music, basic introduction skills to how to mix and blend, and then teaches you also how to build a DJ business. And this is something that, like, I recognize, like, if somebody wants to be a nurse, they could go to nursing school, you know what I mean? But if somebody wants to be a DJ, really the only tools that they have are YouTube videos and tutorials. And, like, there's no one YouTube video or tutorial that's going to give you everything that you need in one place. You really have to, like, do extensive research and really just explore and figure it out. So I really wanted to create a curriculum for DJs, especially Black and brown DJs or DJs of color, to have a place where they can go and get everything that they need in one place, and really build a community there as well, amongst DJs of color. And I launched 90-Day DJ actually in February of 2024, this year. Already sold over 100 copies. So I'm really happy to have, like, a ton of DJs that are already in my network, and building slowly, but it feels really exciting. I'm going to be at the Yale Innovation Summit in 2 weeks, and I'm going to be there pitching 90-Day DJ at Yale at the School of Business. And yeah, I'm really hoping that this curriculum could help a lot of DJs that either are struggling to get their name out there and don't know how to make a name for themselves, especially now, like, everyone and their mom wants to be a DJ. A lot of people think they can just go grab a turntable or a controller and a laptop and they can just start DJing, but there's a lot that goes into it. And the 90-Day DJ course really goes through all those things. And then once, you know, there's also people that have been DJing for maybe 2, 3 to 5, 7, 8 years, and they don't really know how to get their name out there. And there's a big portion of my course that really just teaches, like, strategy to market yourself, strategy to make yourself stand out as a DJ, and techniques and tactics that they can use to really grow their DJ brands and to become a DJ business that is successful and sustainable enough to maybe not even have to work a 9-to-5 job, but just to be fully capable of supporting yourself off of doing DJ gigs and events. So that's what 90-Day DJ is all about, and I'm really excited for it. We've been getting, like, a ton of people that have been reaching out wanting to be a part of it, just because there's really nothing like it on the market right now.
That goes back to what you're saying. There's seeing the needs of what people needs are, and satisfying those needs. And you onto something with that. That's fire. That's
Thank
super
you.
fire. Yeah, that's an amazing idea. And access, right? I think everything you said when it comes to, you know, the extensive research, all these different things that you have to do to become a sustainable DJ, and you don't have that guidance or that mentorship, is a lack of access. And that's just, I'll go down a rabbit hole in terms of systematic oppression and racism and misogyny, and access. A lack of access is with intent.
Mm-hmm.
So break those walls down, to break those barriers down, and give people the accessible way to live their dream. Because I'm sure there's people out there that would love to be a DJ, that love music, but don't have access or don't have
Know where to
the
start. They don't even know where to start. That's the thing. Like even with me, when I was a kid and my friend put in my head like, oh, I want you to DJ my party. I mean, I love music, but I didn't really know where to start. I really I think I asked, we had a family DJ or friend of the family that was a DJ, and I was like, what do I need to DJ? Like, what do I got to do? Like at that time, especially like in 2003, 2002, YouTube wasn't really a thing for real, like we were still on AOL, like AOL chat and things like that. So like for me, I really learned everything trial and error, and like for me, I'm like, this is 2024. We can skip the trial and error. If you really want to learn something, there's so many, like there's YouTube and all these things, but I'm actually surprised that there aren't more trainings that are like, how do you really create a sustainable DJ business? Like there's so many businesses, and like in 2024, we are in a gig economy. Like if you don't have at least one side gig, I don't know how you living now. Like people with a 9 to 5 need a side gig in order to like have a life. If you want to take a vacation, if you want to be able to go out to eat more than once a week, like you got to figure out a way to hustle on the side and get it. So like I see this as an opportunity to really teach people how to have a side gig and how to create a sustainable income that, like if you can go out and get $1,000 in a night, why wouldn't you? If you could learn to do that, like it's a great way to make extra income. And that was a big way, or a big reason why I wanted to create 90 Day DJ. I'm like, more people need to know how to create this as a sustainable side income or sustainable like income period,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Thank you for that. Thank you for creating that and providing access to our people. No, that's a phenomenal idea. What the off air? I will find out. I gotta because this ain't go. You said it's a few weeks, so this is gonna air after the Yale you said the Innovation Summit.
Yeah, that's May 29th and 30th.
Oh, okay. I should. Am I? Yeah, I'm in town. I'm gonna try to pop out for that. But that's amazing. That's absolutely amazing. And I think there's I call it a cheat code. It's a cheat code to like happiness and internal joy when you do for others. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
and yeah, when you're selfless, um, there's so many benefits. And I also think that coming from my background, uh, both of my parents are pastors. There was like this. Well, I grew up with this, and I feel like a lot of other people have as well. Like there was like when you do for others, like you can't monetize it, or you shouldn't monetize it. Coming from like the strict Christian background that I was brought up in. But I think monetizing something like a 90 Day DJ while giving people access to a career goal and chasing their dreams is absolutely okay and should be done more often. That's a amazing way to provide for yourselves and provide for others while giving them something that they can sustain. And that there's so much beauty in that. That's a dope program. And I'm gonna talk to you off air about DJs. I got something I want to run by you. But I ain't gonna make this about me right now. This is about we giving you your flowers. You understand? We giving you your flowers. So
Thank you.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. We're getting to that time, unfortunately, where the podcast is gonna end. But before it ends, I do have one last question for you.
Mm-hmm.
For those aspiring to make it in the music or entrepreneurial world, what advice, and you already have gave so many tips tonight, but if there was some advice that you could sum up to give to someone based off of your own journey experience, what would that be?
I think the thing that I've learned and that I'm reflecting on often is like resilience is necessary to be an entrepreneur. You're gonna come across so many obstacles. You're gonna fail so many times. But I think I've learned that it's really just about failing better every time. Like, to the point where you fail so much that you can't help but win. Like every time you fail, you learn a way to win next time. It's like, all right, I failed this time, but if I do this different, if I tweak this, I think that this could work. So, like I think I watch a lot of documentaries, and I listen to a lot of people that I consider winners, like Michael Jordan, Jay-Z, Beyonce, like people that have been successful. The thing that I hear them say all the time is like they failed a lot, and like you don't think of Michael Jordan as missing over 1,000, shots. You think of him as making 177 winning shots, but he talks about the fact that he failed more than he actually won, but because he kept going and didn't give up, people look at him as a winner. And when I hear things like that, I'm like, oh, okay, it's okay to fail and not being scared to fail. And like knowing if you're going to be an entrepreneur, you cannot be scared to fail. You have to expect it and recognize like failing is part of the process, and the part that's going to make you a winner is not giving up and continuing to say, all right, I failed this time, but like how can I do better next time, and really not being scared to continue and to not ever give up, like to continue and not ever give up. That's really the trick that I've seen from like my father, from other successful business people in my life, entrepreneurs in my life. And I've seen like a lot of really successful entrepreneurs lead by example of if they fail, they still continue and they just win next time. You win next time. That's how you become a winner.
Well said. Well said. Never give up. Fail better. I like that. I'm still of that. I'll give you credit though. We're gonna do the right with credits. I'm gonna give you credit. Not DJ too much. It definitely hit. Tell the people where they can find you at. Everything. All the brands. Tell people they can find you at to connect with you for everything.
Yeah, like so you can follow me on Instagram. I am low is too much, LO_IS_TOOMUCH. You can find my website, bookdj2much.com. And you can also check us out, winedownct.com. You can follow us at winedownt on Instagram and Facebook. And if you want to check out my 90-day DJ course, take our DJ quiz, 90daydj.com.
All right, you heard it here first. So thank you. I appreciate you. I really appreciate you for coming on and sharing all those jewels. Like you're special, and it resonates through all the things that you're doing. Everything you're doing is special, and continue to keep winning. And that's everything you're doing is amazing. You're amazing, and I appreciate you.
Thank you. I appreciate you. Thanks for having me on this. I appreciate it a lot.
Well, thank you everybody for joining us. It's the Falling Up Podcast.